Hello everybody, this is Oliver from Neon. Today we are going to talk about tea number 4 of our stem tea sampler, and this is the Kukicha from Mr. Sakamoto. So what I have in front of me here is actually our 4 stem teas. We have once the Kukicha from Yakushima, once the Kukicha from Musada, and once we have the Kukicha from Mr. Sakamoto and the Karigane of Mr. Sakamoto. And what I will be showing you or comparing you first is the Kukicha of Mr. Sakamoto versus his Karigane. Talk a little bit about why he does this, or what is the difference of this tea, and then I'm gonna go deep dive into the tasting of the Kukicha from Mr. Sakamoto. So Mr. Sakamoto is actually a well-known Gyokuro farmer in the region of Kagoshima, so he's pretty close, around 40 minutes drive to Kagoshima in the region of Shibushi, and there he cultivates with his brother very famous tea. Now, what he has normally when you take a stem tea from a higher grade tea like the Gyokuro, it is called Karigane. But he has actually 2 different qualities or 2 different kinds, where he nominates one as Kukicha and one as Karigane. And I'm gonna show you a little bit the difference of these 2 teas. So here we have the Kukicha and here we have the Karigane. So what you see at a first sight is directly that the Kukicha has more stems than the Karigane. This is one thing. And the Kukicha also has smaller leaves than the Karigane. So this is the Kukicha and this is the Karigane. So Karigane is a little bit more, or seeming to have a little bit more of sweetness in the tea, has less stems, so it's a little bit less minerally. But the Kukicha on the other side has, or due to the fact that it has a little bit of more stems, it is considered to have a little bit more this minerally, a little bit also more this haze aspect, but still is going to be very sweet due to the fact that it is a shaded Gyokuro, or a kind of a derivative from the shaded Gyokuro, just with a little bit tinier leaves, with a little bit less leaves. I assume also that I can do more steepings with the Karigane, so I will see how the steepings over the 3 steepings is, or the taste is evolving over the 3 steepings of the Kukicha. So let's dive into it. Let's go directly into the tasting of this tea. So we're gonna have 65-degree water, and I'm gonna just take 5 grams of the Kukicha, put in 65 degrees water, as I said before, 150 to 155 Fahrenheit, around 150 milliliters of water, and I'm gonna leave it in there for a little bit more than a minute, but around 1 minute is enough. Good, so we passed this 1 minute, and I'm gonna just pour the tea into the glass. Very well. So what we can see is typical this kind of golden color, which is coming with the stem teas, but what already the tea and the Kukicha here, even with its higher amount of stem, shows that due to the dark leaves, it has a little bit more of this shiny green with it. It is quite golden, but if you have watched the video about the Usada Kukicha, for example, you will see that this one here has a little bit of a lighter golden, and a little bit more into the greener part. So let's just have a sniffy sniff with the nose. So I definitely have this haze flavor, this little bit of yellow flavor, predominant or quite dominant with this tea. I have quite a good sweetness, but this kind of haze flavor is still pretty dominant, so I have to look a little bit for the sweetness with this brew here. I have a lot of minerally, kind of a minerally flavor, a little bit of a cereally, kind of slightly smoked due to the high concentration of the minerals, which tends to drive a little bit the taste into a light smoky sensation, even though it is taste-wise definitely not smoky. So let's go and have a sip of this tea. And first brewing of the Kukicha from Mr. Sakamoto. Very sweet. So out of the stem teas, when you take a stem tea which is coming from a Gyokuro or a higher grade sencha like a Kagoshima sencha, there you definitely have a lot of this fruitiness. Now I have a little bit of this kind of tingling, a little bit of this minerally side coming definitely up. And I remember if you maybe have watched the video also about the Karigane, there definitely you have much more of kind of a sweet fruity flavor all along. Meanwhile, this here comes in by the fruit, through this sweet flavor profile, but then going over into a more of a minerally, kind of a more of a kind of a small tingling at the top of the tongue. So you have really nicely this kind of two sides of the tea. First you have this sweet round taste, and then it goes over into the more known Kukicha stem tea taste, which is a little bit of a tingling, which is a little bit more of this tanninic dry mouthfeel, very, very slight, but it is still present. And I also have this savory note. So the Gyokuro, the savoriness, a little bit this sweet savory tones, definitely in the beginning. I have a little bit of banana, I have a little bit of a kind of papaya, I have a little bit of not too ripe mango taste, and then it goes over into a little bit of a haze, slight late summer grass, a little bit slight astringent note, but very, very soft. And still turning around is a little bit haze flavor. So you really have the both aspects of the tea in this here. And this is also Yabukita, so quite a broad, complex taste profile. Normally, this one here definitely shows this both sides of a stem tea. Very nice. So if you like a little bit to explore these both sides, the Karigane is very nice due to its beautiful sweetness and staying in this floral sweet tones. Meanwhile, this here really shows you both aspects. First the fruitiness, and then a little bit this minerally, a little bit drier taste profile. Now with the sediments, I also have a little bit more kind of a slight tingling acidity with it. So it really shows beautifully both sides of the taste spectrum of the shaded tea and also of the stem tea. Good. Second brewing, as always, pretty short. Around 20 seconds is enough. More you shouldn't brew. But let's go and have a look. Now these 20 seconds are more or less over. I give it 1-2 seconds more, and then I'm gonna just pour this slowly into my cup. Beautiful. Good. Voila. So these are the leaves. You can see they're quite good and quite open at the moment. So second brewing, they should open up quite everything. So we can see that the leaves are getting big now. The leaves are quite open. In the first brewing, they're still a little bit close, but now they really give all the flavor, and I can do an easy third brewing with this one here. But already with the second one, the tea is quite open, or the leaves are quite open. So let's go for the second tasting. What is astonishing is the tea gets quite fast lighter. So as I assumed, the Karigane gives over 3 steepings a lot of flavor. This gets a little bit lighter in the second one already. But what is impressive, I thought that maybe the sweet tones go back and I have a little bit more of the haze flavor. But it dims down both on a kind of by a similar level. So the tea gets softer, not so strong in its sweet tones. It's still very sweet, but light sweet, and also there's a lighter haze tone. So it doesn't get stronger. For example, the Osada Kukicha Also in the second brewing, it's quite strong on this tingling, is quite dominant. Here it becomes quite a smooth tea, nice in its sweetness, but also nice in this a little bit dry, and it's a little bit kind of tingling, hayish note. So very, very beautiful taste, sensational taste profile of this tea. Just seems a tea which is quite nicely also in balance through the different brewings. So definitely also the second brewing, a very nice experience. So I want to just have a second sip. It shows a little bit more of a flowery note. So before it was really fruity, and now it went down a little bit with its fruitiness and showing a little bit more of a flowery flavor profile. Like very, very beautiful in terms of taste, in terms how it develops with the taste sensation. And then leaving a little bit of space open for a little bit of a dry, a little bit of a tingling on the top of the tongue, but very, very smooth and very beautiful. So I would say this tea definitely quite a sweet and also a hayish flavor profile in the first brewing. In the second brewing, going more into a sweet flowery note, and the hay flavor and the tingling, like the minerally side of the tea, goes a little bit down. So very, very smooth in the second brewing, and I assume in the third brewing it will be quite similar. So let's go then to a third brewing, just to be sure, just to have a look how this tea evolves now in the third brewing. Good. Also only 20 seconds, more than enough. The water gets lighter, so this tea also seems to lose a little bit faster. Its flavor. Yeah, I have much more of a kind of a watery sensation now, so it lost quite a lot of its flavor, so it must be in the glass. But I have more of kind of this minerally tones, a little bit of the hay flavor still there, no fruitiness, a little bit of a flowery tone, a little bit like it reminds me a little bit, a tiny little bit of oolong maybe. Yeah, quite light in kind of the sweetness. It definitely gets lighter. So here we have quite a light tea already. So first brewing definitely quite intense. Second brewing also really nice, smooth, sweet, flowery. A little bit of still a minerally side. Here we really have a kind of a dim tea. So I would say here some might say that the third could be already a little bit too light for them, but the first, second brewing definitely worth. Definitely a good tea. In the third one it gets pretty soft, but still it has a nice smoothness with it, so it's not tasteless, but in compared to the first one you definitely have here a lighter taste. A little bit of this dry mouthfeel, I'll still have it, so there's quite some minerals are still in the tea, so you definitely have this kind of the taste note of the tea definitely still present, but kind of this flowery sweetness goes quite down. So it shifts a little bit more into the dry flavor profile, and the fruitiness and the flowery flavor profile stay dimmed down. They just reduce themselves brewing after brewing. And what keeps on being in the tea is a little bit this dry, this a little bit tannic, this a little bit kind of slight hayish, especially in the third brewing. So this is this. I hope you liked it, and if you ever have any questions, do not hesitate to ask us. Please feel free to get in touch with us through Instagram, through Facebook, through here in the comment section, wherever you want. We are happy to answer your questions. Until next time, see you and bye bye.